The first time Chinedu saw his boss's wife, it felt like Lagos traffic stopped for 1 second. He was standing by the gate of the big duplex in Lekki, holding a car key and sweating under the hot sun. It was his first day on the job as a taxi driver for Chief Tunde, one of the biggest transport company owners in Lagos. The compound was full of expensive cars, security men, and house staff moving up and down. Chinedu adjusted his faded shirt and wiped his face with a small handkerchief. He did not want to look like a village boy that just entered Lagos, even though that was exactly what he was. Then the front door opened and she stepped out. Madame. Her name was Anita. She wore a simple long gown and flat sandals, but she still looked like someone from a movie. Her natural hair was packed in a neat bun, and her face had this calm beauty that made Chinedu's heart beat fast. She didn't smile much, but her eyes were soft. "Good morning, ma'am," Chinedu greeted, bending his head slightly. "Good morning," she answered in a quiet voice. "You are the new driver?" "Yes, ma. My name is Chinedu." "Okay, Chinedu. Oya, let's go. I'm late already." From that day, his job was simple. Drive Madame everywhere she needed to go. To the supermarket, to the salon, to the market, sometimes to church meetings, sometimes to visit a friend in Victoria Island. Chief was always busy with business meetings and trips, so it was mostly Madame and Chinedu in the car, moving through Lagos traffic together. At first, they barely talked. Chinedu was shy. He kept his eyes on the road and his hands on the steering. He would only speak when she asked him something. But slowly, Lagos traffic forced them to talk. One afternoon on 3rd Mainland Bridge, traffic was so bad that cars were not moving at all. Hot sun, noise of horns, people selling gala and water were knocking on windows. Chinedu's small radio was playing soft gospel music. Madame sighed and leaned her head back. "Lagos will not kill somebody," she said quietly. Chinedu smiled. "Na true, ma." She turned to look at him, surprised that he replied like that. "So you can talk?" He laughed a little. "I dey talk small small, ma. I just no wan disturb you." "You are not disturbing. It's only me and you inside this car every day. If you keep quiet like this, I'll run mad one day oh." They both laughed. That was the beginning. Day by day, Chinedu started to talk more. He told her small stories about growing up in Enugu, how his father was a mechanic and his mother sold food, how he came to Lagos with only one small bag and big dreams, how he drove taxi on the road before one old customer connected him to this big job with Chief. Madame too began to talk. She told him she was from Benin City. She studied accounting in school. She married Chief when she was 23. She told him how she loved reading novels and cooking, but she did not have children yet after 6 years of marriage, and people were already whispering behind her back. She said it with a small laugh, like she did not care, but Chinedu saw how her eyes became shiny when she looked out of the window. The more they talked, the more he saw that behind the big house, fine clothes and big cars, Madame was not as happy as people thought. Chief was rich, but he was always angry, always busy, always shouting on the phone with one contractor or one politician. At night when Chinedu was dropping Madame back home, he sometimes heard shouting coming from inside the house before the gate closed. One evening, after a long day of running errands, Chinedu was driving Madame back home. It was raining heavily, the type of Lagos rain that made everywhere dark and slow. Suddenly, a reckless downfall bus splashed water on their windscreen and almost hit them. Chinedu turned the steering very fast and managed to avoid the accident. Madame screamed and grabbed his arm. The car swerved but stopped safely by the side of the road. For a moment, they just sat there, breathing heavily. Rain beat the roof like drum. Madame's hand was still on his arm, shaking. "Are you okay, ma?" Chinedu asked, his voice low. She nodded slowly, but did not remove her hand. "Thank you," she whispered. "If not for you, we could have died." "God forbid, ma. Nothing will happen to you while I'm driving." Their eyes met in the small space of the car. Raindrops rolled down the windows. Something changed in that moment. It was small, but it was there. A soft, silent feeling. After that day, Chinedu found himself thinking about her even when he was alone. When he was in his small one-room apartment in Aja, he would remember her laugh, the way she said his name, the way she looked out of the window when she was sad and tried to hide it. He would shake his head and scold himself. Chinedu, behave yourself. This is your oga wife. No go dey do any nonsense o. But love does not always ask for permission. One Saturday morning, Chief called Chinedu to the main house before work. Chief was a big man with a round stomach, gold wristwatch, and loud voice. Chinedu, yes, sir. You will follow my wife to Ibadan today. Family meeting. She doesn't like driving that far. You will drive and bring her back tomorrow morning. You will sleep there in the boys' quarters. No mistake, you hear? Yes, sir. No problem, sir. When Chinedu came out, Madame was already in the car with a small travel bag. They started the journey. The road to Ibadan was long but smooth, in some parts and rough in others. They talked about many things: music, childhood, food, dreams. At some point, the car became silent. Madame stared out through the glass, lost in thought. Chinedu, she said suddenly, do you think some people are just meant to suffer quietly? Chinedu frowned. No, ma, why you talk like that? Sometimes I feel like I'm in a big golden cage, she said softly. People see the gold and think I am lucky. They don't know I'm still a prisoner inside. He did not really understand everything, but he understood that she was unhappy. I don't think you are meant to suffer, ma. God no create you for suffering. Maybe one day things will change. She smiled a little. You always say something that makes me feel calm. They reached Ibadan, and Madame stayed with her relatives while Chinedu slept in the boys' quarters. Around midnight, he woke up to loud voices in the compound. He stepped outside and found Madame standing under a mango tree, tears on her face. Madame, he called softly. She tried to wipe her tears quickly. Chinedu, what are you doing here? I heard noise, ma. Are you okay? She laughed sadly. I'm fine. They're just talking about children again. My auntie said maybe my husband should marry another wife. She said maybe I am the problem. Chinedu felt something hot in his chest. That's not fair, ma. Children come from God, not from people's mouths. And Chief too. Why can't he defend you? She shrugged, looking tired. For a few seconds, they just stood there in the soft night air of Ibadan, the smell of wet soil and mango. Then Madame suddenly broke down and started crying, real deep crying that shook her shoulders. Without thinking, Chinedu stepped closer. Madame, please don't cry. She leaned into him, her forehead on his chest, tears soaking his shirt. He froze. His heart pounded so loud he thought she would hear it. He knew he should step back, but he didn't. He just held her gently, not like a driver, but like a friend who cared. I'm tired, Chinedu, she whispered. I'm so tired. It's okay, ma. God is watching. You are not alone. They stayed like that for a short moment, but it felt long. The moon hid behind a cloud. A dog barked far away. Finally, she pulled back, ashamed. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't. No, ma. It's okay. Their eyes locked. In that moment, if they were two different people in another life, something more might have happened. But they were who they were, a rich man's wife and his taxi driver. She took a step back and wiped her face. Good night, Chinedu. Good night, ma. From that day, his love turned from soft to strong. He knew it was wrong, but he could no longer deny it. He loved her, not because she was fine and rich, but because of her heart, her pain, her kindness. Back in Lagos, things became more complicated. Chief started acting strange. He would look at Chinedu with small suspicious eyes. He changed his tone sometimes, like he wanted to ask something but stopped himself. One afternoon, Chinedu overheard Chief shouting on the phone in his office before a trip. I don't care how you do it. Just follow them and get me proof. Chinedu stepped back quietly, wondering who Chief wanted to follow. The next week, mysterious things started happening. Each time Chinedu took Madame out, he noticed one black Toyota Camry behind them. Sometimes the car would disappear. Sometimes it would follow them all the way. One day he decided to test it. Madame told him to take her to a boutique in Victoria Island. On the way back, he suddenly changed the route without telling her and entered one small street. He watched his mirror. The black Camry also turned. His heart started beating fast. Chinedu, why this street? Madame asked. Shortcut, ma, he lied. A few minutes later, he slowed down by a small suya spot and pretended to adjust something. The Camry passed them and parked at the corner. Two men were inside. One of them raised the phone and snapped something. Chinedu pretended not to notice, but he saw it clearly. Madam, somebody is following us, he said quietly when they had moved again. She looked back, fear in her eyes. Are you sure? Yes, ma. That black car. I don't like it. She swallowed hard. Don't tell my husband. That surprised him. Why, ma? Just don't, please. That night, when Chinedu got home, he could not sleep. Someone was following them and taking pictures. Why? He remembered the phone call Chief made. Could it be that Chief himself sent people to follow his own wife and driver? Was Chief suspecting something? But nothing had happened. At least, not physically. Only feelings. Hidden feelings. Still, in this world, sometimes feelings alone can cause big wahala. Days turned into weeks. The black Camry kept showing up and disappearing. Madame grew more quiet, more distant. She would stare at her phone and sigh. One evening, as they drove home, she suddenly asked, Chinedu, if one day you hear something bad about me, will you believe it? He looked at her in the mirror. No, ma, I know you. She smiled sadly. Sometimes, even the people we think know us can surprise us. He did not know what to say. The real storm came on a Sunday. Chief was around, dressed in white native, smelling of strong perfume. He told Chinedu to drive them all to church, Chief, Madame, and him. On the way back from church, Chief was unusually quiet. When they got to the house, he told Madame, I want to talk to you inside. Then he turned to Chinedu. Wait for me by the car. Chinedu stood outside for almost 1 hour. His stomach turned. He could hear faint shouting coming from inside the house. Suddenly, the front door opened with a bang. Madame rushed out, tears streaming down her face. Chief followed, his eyes red with anger, holding a tablet in his hand. Chinedu, Chief shouted. Yes, sir. Come here. Chinedu walked slowly. Chief's eyes were now like burning coal. So this is what you are doing behind my back, he growled. He raised the tablet and pressed play. On the screen, there were pictures and a short video. It was from that night in Ibadan. The camera angle was poor, but you could clearly see Madame and Chinedu standing under the mango tree, their bodies close, her head on his chest, his hands around her. It looked like a romantic embrace. Anyone that saw it would think only one thing. Chinedu's heart dropped to his feet. Oga, it's not what you think, he started, but Chief cut him off with a slap that almost turned his head around. Shut up! You were enjoying what I worked for, Abi? My own driver, in my own house. Madame stepped between them. Tunde, please listen. Chief pushed her aside roughly. You, shut up too. You think I did not know you were tired of this marriage? You think I did not know you were looking for who will be rubbing your back and telling you sweet words? Tears poured from her eyes. It wasn't like that. I was crying. I was hurting. And you ran into my driver's arms, Chief shouted. Who sent the boys to follow you? Me. Who told them to take pictures? Me. I knew something was going on. I just needed proof. Chinedu felt like the ground was shaking. Oga, I swear on my life, I never touched Madame in a bad way. I respect her. I respect you. That day, she was crying and you hugged her, Chief shouted. Is that your job? Hugging my wife? Before Chinedu could talk again, Chief called his security men. Collect that key from him. I never want to see him near my house again. If I see you around here, I will deal with you. The security men took the car key from Chinedu's shaking hand. Madame sobbed. You can't just throw him out like this. He's innocent. Chief laughed harshly. Innocent? You will follow him if you like. Both of you can go and continue your love story. That sentence cut deeper than any insult. Madame stood still like someone hit by a speeding car. She looked at Chinedu, then at her husband, then at the house. Every wall of that compound carried memories of her 6 years of marriage. I'm sorry, she whispered to Chinedu. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, ma, he replied quietly. I'm sorry too. He picked his small nylon bag of personal items from the corner where he usually waited and walked out of the compound, his heart in pieces. That night, alone in his small room, Chinedu sat on his bed and cried silently. He cried for the job he lost, for the shame, but most of all for the love he knew he could never have. Lagos moved on. Days passed. Weeks passed. Chinedu started driving normal taxi on the road again, carrying random passengers from one bus stop to another. Sometimes he would pass Lekki and look at the gate of Chief's house from far, wondering how Madame was, if she was okay, if she missed him even a little. One hot afternoon, as he was parked under a tree waiting for a customer in Victoria Island, a woman in big sunshades and simple gown came to his car. "Are you free?" she asked. He turned and froze. It was Madame. He quickly removed his face cap. "Madame." She smiled, but her smile was tired. "Don't call me Madame here, I beg. Just call me Anita." He swallowed. "Okay, ma, I mean Anita." She entered the front seat beside him like before. For a few seconds, they just looked at each other. "How are you?" she asked softly. "I dey manage," he said. "You unko?" She looked away. "I left the house." That hit him like thunder. "You left?" "Yes, after he disgraced me like that, after all the things he said, it was like I was living with a stranger. My health was suffering. My mind was suffering. One day, I just packed small clothes and went to stay with my cousin in Yaba. What of Chief? He doesn't care. He thinks I will come back begging." She laughed without joy. "He has new girls he carries around now. Lagos girls that like show. You know him?" Chinedu frowned. "I'm so sorry, ma. Sorry, Anita." She shook her head. "I didn't come here so you can pity me. I came to talk." She took a deep breath. "Do you know I was not really angry about the video?" "You were not?" "No. I knew the hug looked wrong, but I also knew what I was feeling that night. I was in pain. You were the only one that listened to me, that saw me as a human being, not just as Chief's wife. What hurt me was how fast he believed the worst about me, like he was just waiting for a reason to throw me away." Chinedu felt his chest tighten. "I'm sorry you went through that because of me." "Don't say that." She wiped a tear that tried to escape. "You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe we allowed our hearts to move too close, but you never disrespected me. I know that." Silence filled the car. Lagos noise continued outside. Horns, people shouting, all cars selling. Inside the car, it felt like they were in another world. "So what will you do now?" he asked. "I don't know," she replied. "I've been thinking a lot about my life, about what I want. I even started small online business with my cousin. But there is something else I need to tell you, Chinedu." His heart started beating faster. "What is it?" She looked straight at him. "Your boss, your former boss, he's not just doing transport business. He's doing something very dirty with that company. I think he's into fraud and maybe worse." Chinedu blinked. "Who do you mean?" She opened her bag and brought out a small flash drive. "Before I left the house, I found some documents in his private study. Contracts that did not make sense. Fake names, fake companies, huge amounts of money. Also, some messages on his laptop about moving cash, about politicians, about keeping people quiet. I copied everything on this drive." Chinedu stared at it like it was a bomb. "Anita, this thing is dangerous." "I know," she said calmly. "But I can't just sit and keep quiet. People are suffering in this country because of men like this, stealing money that belongs to poor people and using it to buy more cars. You know how many drivers he has? How he treats them? Like they are nothing." She paused. "I stayed with him for 6 years and closed my eyes because I was afraid of starting life again. I'm done being afraid." She placed the flash drive gently in his hand. "I want you to help me expose him." Chinedu almost dropped it. "Ma?" "Yes, you," she said. "You are smart, you are careful, and he will never suspect you again. He thinks you are just a useless driver that wanted his wife. He doesn't know that the same driver can bring down everything he built with dirty money." Chinedu swallowed hard. Long before he started working for Chief, he had his own reasons to hate men like that. His father died because of one rich man that refused to pay him for a big repair job and later shouted that the work was useless. The stress of the fight and poverty gave his father hypertension. One day, his father collapsed and never got up. Chinedu had always dreamed of a day when rich, wicked men would face justice. But this was real life, not a movie. "Who do you want me to do?" he asked. There is an EFCC office not far from here, she said. You will take this drive to them. You will tell them everything you know. They may ask you questions. I will join later if I have to. But for now, it's safer if you don't know where I am. Chinedu looked at her, then at the flash drive, then back at her. If he finds out, he will kill us, she finished for him. Maybe, but if we keep quiet, how many more people will he destroy? Her eyes were shining with that same quiet fire he had seen many times. Slowly, Chinedu nodded. Okay, I will do it. That evening, he went to EFCC office. His legs were shaking, but he went anyway. He met an officer, told him everything, gave him the drive. At first, they looked at him like he was just one random taxi driver with too much story. But when they checked a few files in the drive, their faces changed. They took his statements, asked many questions, and told him not to mention it to anyone. Weeks passed. Life went on. Chinedu continued his work as normal taxi driver. Anita continued her quiet life in Yaba. They hardly saw each other, just occasional messages. Are you okay? Yes, you. I'm fine. Then one morning, Lagos woke up to big news. Social media exploded. Breaking: EFCC storms big transport company in Lagos. Popular businessman Chief T arrested over fraud allegations. Pictures of Chief in handcuffs started trending online. People gathered in small groups to talk and argue. Some said it was a lie. Some said they always suspected him. Some staff members of his company were arrested too. That same day, Chinedu's phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? He answered. Is this Chinedu? A male voice asked. Yes, who is this? This is EFCC. We need you to come to the office tomorrow. It's about the case. Chinedu's heart jumped. Okay, sir. The next day he went. They told him that the evidence on the flash drive was strong and that the case would go to court. They also said he might need to testify as a witness. He agreed, even though fear sat on his shoulder like a heavy load. When he left the office, Anita was waiting outside in a simple gown and slippers. She had been called too. They sat on a bench under a tree. For the first time in a long time, she looked a little free, like someone who dropped a heavy bag. This is really happening, she said softly. Yes, he replied. Everything we did in secret is now in the open. She glanced at him. Do you regret it? He thought for a moment. No, I'm just scared. Me too, she admitted. But sometimes the right thing is scary. As the court date came closer, Lagos gossip grew louder. People shared different versions of the story. Some said Chief's wife betrayed him and leaked everything. Some said it was his driver. Some said it was his business partner. Nobody knew the full truth. On the first day of court, the courtroom was full. Journalists, lawyers in their black gowns, curious strangers, some of Chief's staff, and a few family members. Chinedu wore his best shirt and trousers. His hands were sweating. He saw Chief sitting in the accused box, still big, but somehow smaller without his fancy clothes and free movements. Their eyes met for a brief second. Chief's look was full of anger and something else. Hurt, maybe. Anita sat at the back, sunglasses on, quiet. The case was long and messy. Lawyers argued. Documents were presented. Videos, bank statements, emails. Chinedu was called to testify. He stood in the witness box, his voice shaking at first, but later becoming stronger as he told the story of his time as Chief's driver, the strange meetings, the suspicious movements, and how Anita gave him the flash drive. Then something unexpected happened. After Chinedu finished, Chief's lawyer called Anita to the witness box. Everyone turned. Some people whispered, expecting drama. Anita walked slowly to the front, removed her sunglasses, and held the Bible with steady hands as she promised to tell the truth. The lawyer's questions were sharp. Madam, did you or did you not steal private documents from your husband's study? I took copies, she answered simply. So you admit that you betrayed your husband? I did not betray an innocent man, she said. I helped expose a criminal. The whole courtroom murmured. The judge banged the gavel. The lawyer smiled like a cat. And tell us, Madam, what is your relationship with this driver? This same driver who hugged you under a mango tree in Ibadan. Is he your secret lover? Chinedu's heart jumped. All eyes turned to her. That single question felt like a knife in the air. Anita looked at the lawyer, then at Chinedu. Their eyes met. Pain, love, shame, and courage were all there in one look. Then she turned back to the court. No, she said clearly. He is not my lover. He is my friend. The only person that listened to me when I was dying slowly inside my marriage. The only person that helped me when I decided to do the right thing. We never crossed the line you are trying to draw. Another wave of murmurs. The lawyer tried to push it. So why did you hug him then? Because I was human and I was hurting, she replied. And sometimes, when a person is in deep pain, they lean on whoever is there for them. It was a mistake of appearance, not of action. Even the judge paused before writing something down. At the end of that long day, the case was adjourned. Everyone filed out slowly. Outside the court, reporters rushed forward, microphones in hand. Madam Anita, did you really bring down your husband because he refused to give you a child? One asked. She ignored them. Another one turned to Chinedu. Driver, are you in love with your boss's wife? Chinedu froze. Cameras were in his face. Phones were recording. The whole world seemed to hold its breath for his answer. He looked at Anita, then at the reporters. A small, sad smile touched his lips. Sometimes, love is not about getting what you want, he said quietly. Sometimes it is about doing what is right for someone, even if it hurts you. That answer went viral. People shared the clip everywhere. Some said he was a fool. Some said he was a hero. Some called him the romantic driver with sense. But the strangest twist was still coming. 1 week later, something shocking happened. Chief collapsed in a cell and died of a heart attack before the case could finish. The news shook everybody. Some people said it was stress. Some said it was his enemies. Some even said it was spiritual. Whatever it was, he was gone. But that was not the only shock. A few days after his death, lawyers called Anita and some family members to the office to read his will. Surprisingly, they also called Chinedu. He was confused. Why me? He asked. You will see, the lawyer said. They all gathered in a big office. Chief's younger brother was there, looking angry. Some cousins too. Anita sat quietly in a corner. Chinedu sat near the door, ready to leave if anyone started trouble. The lawyer opened a folder and cleared his throat. Before his death, Chief T prepared a new will. It was signed and stamped 3 months ago. 3 months? One cousin shouted. That's before this EFCC wahala. The lawyer nodded. Yes, please, let me continue. He began to read. There were normal things. Some money to certain relatives, some property to be sold, some debts to be paid. Then the lawyer reached the part that made everyone sit up. To my wife, Anita, he read, I leave 40% of my legal businesses and properties, including the house in Lekki and shares in the transport company. Even though we have had many problems, I know I have failed you in many ways, and this is my way of saying sorry, even if I could not say it well when I was alive. People gasped. The younger brother looked like he would explode, but it was the next part that shook the room like thunder. To my driver, Chinedu, the lawyer continued, I leave 30% of my legal transport business and one of my smaller depots in Agege. This may surprise many people, but I have my reasons. I have watched you quietly for a long time. You are loyal, honest, and you protected my wife, even when I was too blind with anger to see it. You returned extra change when I overpaid you by mistake. You stayed late without complaining. You once refused a bribe from a customer and reported it to me. I suspected something between you and my wife, and I texted both of you. I sent people to follow you. I saw the video. I overreacted. But later, when I watched the full clip, something shocked me. I saw how fast you stepped back from her, how you refused to take advantage of her pain. I saw a man fighting himself to do the right thing. Tears filled Chinedu's eyes. He had never known that Chief saw all that. The lawyer continued. Many years ago, I was a driver like you. I know how it feels to be treated like you are nothing. So, if I am no longer here, I want at least one person who knows what it means to walk from the bottom to have a chance at the top. Do not waste this. The room went silent. You could hear hearts beating. Chief's younger brother jumped up. This is madness. How can you give a driver 30%? What a family. The lawyer raised his hand. Please, calm down. The rest is shared among family and partners, but this part is legal. Anita just sat there, frozen, tears sliding down her cheeks. Chinedu could not move. Him, a simple village boy who came to Lagos with one small bag, now owner of 30% of a big company. But the last line of the will was the real knife twist that nobody saw coming. The lawyer read slowly. And finally, to both Anita and Chinedu, I leave a letter that will be given to them alone. They must read it together. Later, in a small side room, the lawyer handed them an envelope and left. Their hands shook as Anita opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter in Chief's bold writing. If you are reading this, the letter began. It means I am no longer here to shout or pretend that I am not hurt. I am a proud man, and pride has spoilt many things in my life. Let me tell you both the truth now, since the world loves secrets. First, I was angry when I saw that video from Ibadan. Very angry. Not because of the hug, but because I saw in your eyes, Anita, a kind of pain I caused and never cared to fix. And I saw in your eyes, Chinedu, a kind of love I once had when I was younger and poorer, before money turned my heart to stone. Chinedu and Anita looked at each other, then continued reading. I suspected that you both had feelings for each other. I am not blind. I texted you. I pushed you. I even planned to use your weakness to cover my own crimes, to distract people if my dirty business ever came out. That was my plan at first. Yes, I truly planned to disgrace you, Anita, if it became necessary, and I planned to use you, Chinedu, as a scapegoat. I am not a good man, but something unexpected happened. When I watched more of that hidden camera clip, I saw something that shook me. I saw a woman who was breaking, and a man who refused to take advantage of it. I saw that both of you chose restraint. You could have easily done worse and I would never have known, but you didn't. That showed me that, in that moment, both of you were better human beings than I was. Tears dropped from Anita's chin onto the paper. Chinedu blinked fast to see the words clearly. So here is the real twist, the letter continued. You both think you brought me down with EFCC. It is true you helped, but you don't know the full story. The same week you left the house, Anita, I found out that one of my old enemies was already gathering evidence against me. I knew my time was coming. I had already been warned. When EFCC came, I was not shocked. I had been expecting them for months. The documents you stole were not as hidden as you think. I left some of them in that drawer on purpose to see what you would do. I wanted to know if you would protect me or expose me. You chose the right thing, even if it was against me. And strangely, that made me respect you more than before. I also found out something about you, Chinedu. One of my boys told me how you went to EFCC, shaking but still went. I could have used my power to silence you, but I did not. Why? Because deep down, I knew I deserved that trouble. I have eaten money that does not belong to me. I have hurt people. I have been a bad husband and a selfish man. I always thought my money would protect me, but seeing you two stand for what is right made me see that my life was empty. Chinedu's hands trembled. Anita covered her mouth. So this is my revenge and my apology mixed together, the letter said. I leave you both sides to the same destiny. 40% for you, Anita. 30% for you, Chinedu. Together, you hold more than my family combined. You can decide to continue the company in a clean way, or sell it and go your separate ways. You can decide to hate me forever, or you can use what I leave to correct the damage I caused. But here is the last thing I will say, and this is the part that will make you both uncomfortable. I give you my blessings in death to whatever your hearts decide about each other. I know there was love there, even if you both tried to bury it. I saw it before you saw it yourselves. I pushed it, tested it, and still it refused to become dirty. If after everything, life brings you together, don't feel guilty because of me. I have done worse things in my life than two lonely hearts trying to find comfort. The only promise I want from you is this: don't let my company become a tool for evil again. If you must love each other, then love each other with sense and with God. Signed, your former Oga, Chief T. The room was silent. You could almost hear the city breathing outside the window. Anita let out a shaky laugh that sounded more like a sob. Only Chief can turn his downfall into one long drama, she whispered. He knew everything, Chinedu said softly. Even the things we were hiding from ourselves. They both sat there, holding the letter, their hearts heavy and light at the same time. Everything was different now. They were no longer just driver and madam. They were co-owners of a big company. They were tied together by scandal, by secrets, by pain, by a love that never fully started but refused to die. What do we do now? Anita asked in a small voice. Chinedu looked at her, really looked, past the fine gown and soft face, past the tears and the drama. We do the right thing, he said. We clean the company, we pay the workers well, we help people, not cheat them. We make sure nobody goes through what we went through under him. And about us, he stopped, afraid of his own words. Anita's eyes met his. About us, she repeated. Maybe we start as partners, real partners. No secrets, no hiding. If anything else will grow from there, we let time decide. No rush. A slow, honest smile touched his lips. I can live with that, he said. They stood up, still holding the letter that changed everything, and walked out of the office into the noisy, chaotic, beautiful Lagos afternoon. People looked at them and saw only a former driver and a former madam walking side by side. They did not know the full story. They did not know that the taxi driver who fell in love with his boss's wife now carried his boss's legacy on his shoulders, or that the boss himself, even in death, had given them his final shock, his blessing. And that was the kind of twist that would keep Lagos talking for a very long time. The end. Please like, leave a comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.